Okay, today we're going to pot up some transplants. I've got a tray of tomatoes here that were started in a plug tray. We started these on the 25th of February 25. That was right before the full moon. And we're going to pot them up into larger pots. And what will happen is they'll grow in these pots for a while, and at any stage after I transplant these, let's just do one real quick. This is called Big Braggart right here. At any time, you just poke him right down in there, cover him completely up to those leaves right there. So I could plant this in the garden right now. This is my potting mix that I mix my 5 things in that I love. I made a video about that. I mix in eggshells, azomite, bone meal, blood meal, and the other one that's on that video. What the heck is it? So I put those amendments in the soil. It's awesome because this is a lot of soil. That's a big old giant. That's 4 inches. Let's see how big that actually is. I'm going to grab a tape measure here. Azomite, eggshells, bone meal, blood meal, and alfalfa meal. So alfalfa meal is the one I forgot here. But these are, this is 5.5. So there's about 5 inches of soil in there. And across here is 4 inches, 4 to 4.25 inches. So we're going to call this a 5 by 4 pot. That is an amazing amount of soil. And if you have a lot of good soil in there, you could almost grow an entire tomato crop on that one little bit of soil. I say almost because it would actually take some more. But with that super good potting soil, I could transplant this in a place where the soil isn't very good and side dress it a couple of times through the growing season, and I would be able to have a really nice and beautiful growing crop of tomatoes. So I'm putting them in these big pots. So that they can grow and cover that stem completely up. The reason I'm covering that stem is roots are going to come out on that stem and get bigger and stronger. I have a pot of soil here. Now this is a compost soil. It has some native soils in it. As it was turned, we turned it with the tractor, and it has some native soils in it, but there's a lot of cow manure and old hay from the cows. It smells just like dirt. It's beautiful, good, sweet smelling soil. I have these pots, these biodegradable pots, and they're super good pots because we're able to plant our plants in here, and then we don't remove the pot. The roots just grow right through into the soil. I just got these on Amazon. Type in biodegradable pot. Pretty easy to fill. You just fill them up like this. There's nothing to it. You could train a monkey to do this probably. You don't have to have a master's degree to grow good food. All you need to do is get out and work in the garden. So there's that. Put your finger in it, move it around. So there's a nice hole in there. Just filled the hole in. And then we come back to the variety we're doing, which is Big Braggart. Pull this out. There's 3 seeds that went in that plug hole. So I'm just very gently going to tug on that to loosen that apart. There, that one's done. And then I'll do the same thing there. And those 2 will be ready for the next 2 pots. So there's advantages to potting up. You know, from a small pot, you pot up to a bigger pot. And one of the advantages that I'm really focusing on right now is the fact that I'm putting them in a big enough pot that they will thrive in here for a long time. They could probably grow in here for a good 2 months. I'd have a big plant, but then it could go in its place where it needs to go. If you pot up to a 4-inch pot like this, I said 4-inch pot, but what I meant was a 4-pack. I potted these up the other day. These ones will need to be potted up again. Those ones will not. And if I pot up from the plug tray to a 4-pack like that plastic one I just showed you, that will make a really good strong transplant. And then if we put that one in here, bury it deep again, then it can get even a bigger root system. So by potting them up once into here, they only have the chance to increase that root system this one time. Where if you pot up 3 or 4 times, every time you bury them, they will produce another set of roots up that stem. Now there's a point where there's the law of diminishing returns kicks in and it's not going to do you any good, but for now, potting it up 2 or 3 times, there's benefits. So these ones are only getting potted up once, and I will still get an awesome good tomato crop. You don't have to pot up to have a good crop of things. Big Braggart is a giant tomato variety. I've never grown it before. It's a new variety for me this year. I always like to try new varieties of anything, every variety, every crop out there. I like to try them. So this is a new one this year. I got the seed at the seed swap at Utah Farm Conference in Cedar City. You should plan on going to that next year. Go to the Utah Farm Conference next year in Cedar City, Utah. It's a good conference. A very diverse crowd there. You got the old-time Georgic farmers there. You got the eco-ag farmers there. You'll have the university / government type people there. Everybody shows up to that conference. There's something for everyone there. And the great thing is they're not fighting. It's about the only time those 3 groups don't disagree and fight with each other. So that's pretty awesome. I've been to conferences before where in the conference people will put down other types of farmers, other groups of people. I've been to organic farming places and they tend to really put down the old-time Georgic people. They put down normal, big, giant ag that feeds the world, wherever you are in the world. Big ag tends to be what you're eating from, if you eat from restaurants or grocery stores. If you're in a country where there aren't big restaurants and grocery stores, then they're not feeding you, because that's where their food goes. So if you're in India, you're probably not really eating from that group. But it's wonderful to have the diversity in those people at conference. So there's that. I have one more, Big Braggart, and then we'll be done with that variety. When I try new varieties, I usually don't do hundreds. I do a few. I do a dozen to see how they do. So here's this right here. There we go. Yeah! 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I have 10 of those. I actually have more than 10 because a few went in those trays in there. So I'll move these to their permanent home until they get transplanted in a few minutes. But now we would just water them up. Scoop up a little irrigation water here. And we just water them a little bit. Just putting a little water in each one right now. I don't want it to flood over and get the leaves all wet. So I'll come back and water them again so we get plenty of water in the soil. Okay, see how that one, the leaves got wet, now it's covered with dirt? I'll need to wash those off. So that one got a little full. Now that I'm done watering, I can come back and give them all a little bit more. Just want to make sure they're soaked real good. Okay, there we go. Those do need more water before I'm completely done, but that's potting up. It's that simple. And then at any stage from here on out, I can transplant them again into wherever I'm going. These will be planted directly in the garden soil. and but they're in a big enough pot now that we could wait 2 months before we take them out and put them there. And that soil's super good. It has all the good stuff in it. It's got nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. It has all the good things. There's one more thing I want to do. I'm going to put some Biodynamic Compost Tea on there so we get the microbes activated. I've got my tea brewing over here. I already treated everything, but I added some more water to the ingredients. So that's good. Here, we're just going to give that soil a good inoculant of compost tea. And we'll give a little bit to this too. I'm going to come pot some more up. Okay, that's awesome. I need to go take seed down in the field. Grandpa Vaughn, 86 years old, is planting thousands of acres of grass seed for the cattle. So I'm going to go help him for a little while.